Today's guest is a 9 times world medalist, 11 times European champion, and now also the FOC Games Universiades winner.
It's because I can do it.
She's considered by many the GOAT of Taekwondo Poomsae, and her name is Eva Sandersen.
Taekwondo is my life.
In this episode, we dive deeply into her mindset, training, and what it takes to overcome major injuries.
This injury was very, very difficult for me.
And becoming a world champion.
How would I possibly win the world championships? I know I wanted to.
After having won it all, what keeps her still going?
I love the pursuit.
I'm your host, Christian Kamphuis, and this is the FOC Taekwondo Podcast.
Welcome to the FOC Taekwondo Podcast. Today we have a very special guest in our first episode ever. Eva Sandersen from Denmark, 9 times world medalist, 11 times European champion, and multiple years consecutively ranked number 1 in under 30 female Poomsae recognized. Absolutely brilliant that you're here, Eva. Welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you for the invitation. I'm very excited.
So am I. It's an honor. Let's get into it.
The honor is mine, Christian.
Let's go back all the way. When did you first start Taekwondo?
I started Taekwondo when I was 9 years old. And I started actually because I stopped doing ballet. I've done a lot of different sports like riding, badminton, ballet, swimming. Yeah, I've been around. And then I started Taekwondo, and I did Taekwondo while I also did badminton. But then eventually I would have to choose a sport. And then then I got too busy and I proceeded with Taekwondo.
That's very interesting. It's funny you say badminton, because I've understood that Denmark is one of the best badminton countries in the world, especially from Europe.
Yes.
So what made you choose Taekwondo over badminton? Because Taekwondo isn't probably the biggest sport in Denmark.
Yeah, that's true. In Denmark, we're like 8,000 to 9,000 that has the Taekwondo license. Badminton is really huge in terms of the level in Denmark is also really, really good. But when I was a kid, I didn't really know anything about that anyways. Well, I think it had to do with the fact that with my dad, I did badminton, and with my mom, I did Taekwondo.
Okay.
And I was not that competitive when I was a child. Not like that. But my dad was very into badminton and being a little bit competitive on my behalf. And I think that threw me towards the Taekwondo side. I preferred Taekwondo over badminton because at that point I needed to more like gain confidence and not try to get to the more competitive level.
Okay. So
from the beginning, I had to first try and get some confidence into what I was doing, and then for me I could proceed to trying out competitions. Even though eventually, funny enough, my mom was like, "Oh, you should go."
It worked out pretty well.
And later, my mom told me to go to competitions in Taekwondo, which I also didn't really.
You didn't enjoy competing at the beginning.
No.
Oh wow!
I was scared.
That's so funny to hear.
Yeah, right. It's
looking
so
where you are
interesting.
these days. Yeah. That's
cool. I was shy. I was very different from how I was now. Like my first private trainer, she also said it was so funny how when I was in Taekwondo classes, I didn't say a thing. Like,
so
you cannot make me. Yeah. Yes. But then, of course, because I was quiet, I was attentive. So I was good in the Taekwondo classes, I think.
Listening to the instructors and doing everything.
Just like being too scared to do anything else, maybe. No, I think I wasn't scared like that, but I was just very shy.
I see. Did you still continue to practice other sports besides Taekwondo once you got into Taekwondo?
Yeah, I when I got into Taekwondo, that was when I still did badminton. And then I proceeded still to do both.
Okay.
And then I started first to go to some competitions in badminton, which didn't go the best, I think. Cool. But it also wasn't bad. Like, it was not like I didn't have any talent for badminton, because just like in generally, I'm pretty athletic. But it was also, you have to watch the ball. Is it out or is it not? And I was too indecisive. I was like, I didn't see it well, Yeah. And so while I also did badminton and a few competitions in this, I just practiced Taekwondo. And then I got a little bit more serious with Taekwondo and started to attend to more classes. And then eventually I had to choose between the two.
At what age did you then choose to only continue in Taekwondo and train more in Taekwondo?
That's a good question. I don't know if I know. I'm not sure. Definitely before I was 12, because at 12 I was at my first European Championships. I also did, while I did Taekwondo, I just remembered, I think I also did gymnastics. And then I had, so I think I did gymnastics and Taekwondo. And then I quit gymnastics to do Taekwondo. And then I did badminton and Taekwondo. And then I quit badminton to do Taekwondo.
Okay.
Actually.
So in the beginning, you weren't training full-time Taekwondo?
No, definitely not.
Like a couple of times a week or something?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Once you let the other sports behind you and you started focusing on Taekwondo at that young age, around, let's say, 12, when you were training for your first Europeans.
11, 12.
How much were you training back in those days?
For this, you should interview my mom instead. She would
we can
know
have a part
better.
2.
Yeah. My guess is maybe at 11, 12 years old, maybe 4 or 5 times a week.
Okay.
This is a guess.
Yeah, but more or less in that range.
Maybe.
Yeah. We got to have a part 2 with your mom and then ask the more difficult questions to her.
Yes.
Did your mother by any chance do Taekwondo, or how did she get you into Taekwondo?
I got into Taekwondo, well, because I quit ballet and I still had to do a sport. And then it was my mother's idea for me to start doing Taekwondo. And that was based on the fact that my dad did try Taekwondo when he was young, or at least she's told me that my dad tried it when he was young. And then I think the more dominant factor could be that we are Koreans. Both of my parents are adopted from Korea to Denmark, so we don't speak Korean. And I'm born in Denmark, so I'm Danish, right?
Yeah.
But then again, we are Korean by blood, and so
you have the roots in Korea.
We have background. Yeah,
I see.
We have our roots there.
Cool.
Yes, so that's how I started Taekwondo.
Okay. At what age did you start competing then for the first time? I understood that you weren't too eager to compete as a shy little Eva, but you did compete at some point.
Yeah. I think my first competition was in 2010, so that does not make sense. That does not add up. So I started Taekwondo when I was 8 or 9, and then my first competition was at 9 years old.
Okay.
Yeah.
So after a year or something of training.
Yeah, when I got my yellow belt, that does not take a year. So maybe actually quite
early.
Quickly.
Yeah.
After I got the yellow belt, I started competing. Also, I went directly from white belt to yellow. I don't know if you have the white and yellow belt, but that one I skipped.
We have the stripes, at least in most of the clubs in Finland. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. So we have the white belt with a stripe before you get to the yellow one. And the yellow one you need first to have to come in order to compete.
Okay.
But my trainer said I could just go from white to yellow. The trainer that I have now, so the trainer that is still my trainer, actually, he is the one that got me into Poomsae, which is awesome. The fact that he got me started into it and I'm still having him as my trainer. So he was there at my first graduation from white to yellow belt. And he just saw he was looking out for athletes that had good potential for Poomsae. And so he put me aside and told my mom that I could start with Poomsae if I wanted to on this team that we had on Saturdays. And then I tried it out. And I asked my mom what Poomsae was, and my mom then asked my trainer, I suppose. And I was told it was not like sparring where we have to kick each other and also get kicked. And I thought that was very interesting because I was like, not that extroverted. So I think it was nice for me not having to have to hit other people because I also was like, but I don't want to hurt others. I think that's not so nice. So the fact that there was Poomsae was actually quite nice for me. And then I had my first classes and I liked it somewhat.
It looks like it. At least you've been doing it ever since. Did you try to compete in Kyotogi at any point?
No, I have not tried to compete in Kyotogi because I got so early on into Poomsae.
Okay.
And from there, it took off quite quickly. Yeah. So I never got into sparring because even when I then got a bit more confident and not as introverted, I thought about how about starting Kyotogi, but I was so into Poomsae already that I would be afraid it would interact or distract my Poomsae career, so I never tried sparring.
Okay, so we're already quite focused on Poomsae from the beginning then.
Yeah, definitely. Like my first competition was 2010, and my first Europeans was 2013.
Oh wow!
So
that's cool.
You can see how it took off quite quickly because you also have to, from when you start at white belt, you have to first get the black belt and then go to Europeans, right? So
true.
It took off quite quickly with Poomsae.
I see. So the first Europeans were then, how did you do in your first Europeans and in which categories did you compete?
I competed in the cadets. This was the very first championships where cadets was included.
So this is the even younger category below juniors, for those who don't know. That's what cadets is called. Okay. Yes, so that was the first time that category existed in the European Championships.
Yeah, I believe so. At least the special thing was that actually I wasn't even a black belt. I was a red belt and then I had some stripes. I believe I had 3. Okay. But the rules changed
afterwards.
Later. Yeah. But this is how I was able to go to European at such a young. Or now you can go even younger, but that's how I could go even though I did not have my black belt yet. So at 12, I attended to my first Europeans and I was red belt and it went really well. I won bronze medalist at my first European Championships in the individual category.
Wow, what a beginning. Was the next year then when you competed at the first World Championships?
Yeah. It was 2014, and there I won bronze in teams in Mexico.
What did you enjoy about competing in teams? Because you've been doing mostly individual categories the last couple of years.
I do like things in teams, that you're a team and these sort of things. But I do enjoy also to work as a team with just my trainer. And so in my individuals, I can do just that.
I think it's completely reasonable to want to also focus just on yourself because then you're also in charge completely of how everything goes. And
yes, definitely.
Of course,
I think that was also a part of it. Like if there is a mistake, you don't have to blame it on others or blame it on yourself. Even it can be hard to blame yourself if you do a mistake, even if others says it's okay. But also the other way around, like, it can feel as if the teammates go against you. I didn't experience this necessarily, but when when it is 3, it is easy for 2 to go together and overpower 1, apparently.
The people chemistry needs to really work to have a strong team, or also pair for that matter. At what point did you start competing also in freestyle? You had a gymnastics and ballet background, so you probably did have lots of like skills already, maybe, which could help in Poomsae. You did not? Okay.
I did not. In the gym, I did have gymnastic classes, but I didn't learn the flake flag or the backflip.
So that's after gymnastics, basically.
Yes.
During freestyle. Okay.
Yes. I started freestyle 2013.
Okay.
Not my first freestyle, but my first championships in freestyle individual was 2014, where I won silver.
So that's also a good start for your career.
Yeah. But here it was awesome.
You've been competing in both freestyle and recognized from quite a young age, which back in the day was quite rare. There were a couple of people who did both, but in the beginning, especially when freestyle was quite new, it seemed that there were a lot of specialists who did only recognized or only freestyle. But you did both. What made you want to compete in both?
It has definitely been rare, and I think it's actually first around now here in 2024, like a decade after that it has become more regular to do both freestyle and Poomsae.
True.
So in that case, I really do believe I'm kind of the front runner of doing both. It's also very, or at least in 2 individual groups, that's very rare.
True.
And I believe it will come. But the reason why I chose it is because I can. Yeah, because I can. Because I'm good in Poomsae and I'm good in freestyle. And in Denmark, we have this rule of you cannot tell good things about yourself because then you're arrogant.
I see.
And
you need to be humble.
I don't mean it in this way. But then again, I think it's super cool to be able to do 2 individual disciplines.
Absolutely.
Because the Poomsae individuals, it's the most difficult one. In the freestyle individuals, you're only dependent on your skills, no one else's.
That's true.
And this, I think, is cool character to build. So that one character I worked upon. And then I am.
You've worked on it very successfully as well. And also in both, because was there a point in time when you were thinking of like, maybe I should focus on just one of the other?
It's a constant thing you would think about, because what I am aiming to do is not to participate. I want to win.
Wow. Did you have that mindset from the beginning, or has that grown over time?
There is a difference between would you like to win from the beginning? Many people will. And then there is the difference between when did you plan to win? Was that from the beginning? From my first European Championships, I planned to win. And that's the answer.
That's a great answer.
That is quite much from the beginning, I would say.
Wow. I'm asking that question because it sounded like the first competitions you were super, super nervous.
It's not
and
crazy.
You weren't, so going from that point of like, I don't want to really compete in badminton or whatever, any sport, to knowing that you want to win and you will win because you have a plan for winning. And that's the mindset to getting to that point, and not just like, it would be nice to win, let's hope for it.
Yeah, definitely.
But actually plan for it and have the mindset of believing that I will win, I will make it happen, and this is my plan to make it happen. Because there are lots of great athletes, super talented athletes, who are on a super high level, but then to get to that level to become world champion, and then multiple times world champion or European champion for that matter, that's a different ballgame. And that needs a different mindset. So that's very interesting to hear. And that's a very, very great answer.
Thank you.
Nonetheless, even after all these years, do you feel still nervous when you compete?
Interesting you say still. But yeah, I was definitely nervous in the beginning, right? I didn't want to compete. A funny fact is that my mom had to bribe me for competing. And I was good with the bribing. I was like, no, maybe if also.
Okay, so you were doing business from the start.
Yeah.
I see.
Sorry, I got offline. What's the question again?
Do you still feel the nerves when you compete?
No, I don't. I actually, from quite early on, I didn't feel nervous because when you're young, you don't know the consequences. So in 13 I was nervous, and then in 14, yeah, I yes, sure I would call it nervous, but I don't feel that nervous when I compete because for me it doesn't help, and I just feel excited.
Okay.
I'm geared up like that. I'm focused, excited.
Would you say that it's more that you've learned to channel the nerves or the feeling of like little bit of anxious, and then you're able to kind of use that as a fuel for competing? Or do you
Yeah,
just not
definitely.
feel the nerves at all? You say you feel excited and ready,
It's
adrenaline.
about knowing what to call it. If you hear the studies,
Mhm.
the studies says that if you're nervous, but you call it excited instead, the actual feeling itself is the same. So in the body, it's the same place and everything, and it's the same mechanism that happens basically. But because you call what you feel in your body to different things, the outcome is different. So it's really about also kind of analyzing and knowing your own behavior like this. So it is, well, how to channel it, I would say the channel sort of is the same because the feeling and what happens in your body, like the heartbeat, sweating, it can be the same, but you just choose to call it something different, and then by default your body reacts to what your brain tells it to.
That's very well put. And it's true, the mind and body works in a funny connection both ways.
Yeah.
So when you think of something, it also feels probably more like that. And the other way around, if it feels like something, you probably think about it as well. But if you're able to choose what you want to think about it or how you see it, that definitely does change the feeling as well. But that's very interesting that you've actually thought about that and put that
I think
into
about
words
it
as
all,
well.
Christian. I think about it all. You'll
I
get
bet.
to find out.
What do you love the most about competition?
I love, there are so many things to choose from. I love the excitement of competing, the adrenaline and the feeling of the body of being capable. That's the best feeling. And this is how I can continue to train as well and be ambitious, and even after one title and then going for the next one and so forth. It's because I love the feeling of the body's capability. Yeah, I just love to move and to show the strength and the beauty of having worked on something for such a long time. That is one thing at least. Then I love the challenge of pushing your limits, and I love the pursuit. And I think this is also what is a great athlete, to love the pursuit. I think this is determined often, at least, of how great of an athlete you can become. I do believe that you can become great with your work, but I think at least the way getting there is easier if you like to work as well. And then, of course, I love to win. I mean, I'm gonna be honest. Like it feels like no other feeling when you have worked and worked and worked and gets this rush of relief that you made it, and it's sort of this unreal feeling of something you have had in your head multiple times. You've seen it for you, you've tried to feel it, but then when it's actually happening and you're like, what? It actually happened. It's surreal, actually.
Wow. Are you very competitive also outside of Poomsae?
I'm competitive in terms of what I do myself. I want to do work I am happy with, and I'm perfectionistic.
Okay.
Very perfectionistic. That's how I would put it. Because it's more of how good is it than is it better than someone else's.
So you're not really comparing to other people. It's just, is it the best work you can do or the best performance you could give?
Yes, definitely. I think this is healthier for me.
It sounds a lot more long lasting if you're willing to compete against yourself or really thriving for the perfection of a craft or improvement.
Yeah. Yeah, and it brings you more joy that you want to work on this for yourself, or of course for your values, or for someone that you would like to show something to. Like, I wanna do this also with my trainers, for my trainers, with my family support and for my family support. But the coolest thing is when you get those people where you realize they are there either way. And this is how you can then, no matter what, choose to go for it. I think that's amazing.
How big of a role do you consider like your inner circle or your closest people to be in your success? Because you talk about your mom, you talk about your trainers, your friends, family. It seems like they have a big part in your life and in your
my trainers are everything, and I hope, and I really hope I do tell them enough, because I appreciate them not only as a part of what I do, but they inspire me as people, and this is what I want to do as well. When you're with great people, you kind of, want to take after that as well. This is part of who I want to become like them, who can be good people and be good at their craftsmanships, whatever it is, as a person and as an athlete and as a student, as a whole.
As a person. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's very beautifully said. And it sounds also very healthy the way you think about it. It's not just I'm an athlete, I'm a person. Because easily people get trapped into their perspective or feeling like my identity is how I compete, or me as an athlete is completely my identity. But then if something happens, you get an injury, or at some point in life you retire, and then you're no longer an athlete, then you might be very lost if you don't know who you are as a person as well.
Yeah.
Have you had some major injuries during your time?
Yes, and this is how you also come to get to the conclusions I have come to. All my conclusions are based on my life and my experiences. I ruptured my Achilles tendon in 2020 when I was 19. And this was the year I was transitioning onto the senior group, going from the juniors to the senior group. And the senior group is we call it, my trainer Bodo and I, we call it the Formula One, because this is like the top sort of. And this injury was very, very difficult for me. I went from being an athlete, top athlete, to feeling like I was lost and empty. And I don't, and I say that in present tense as well, or maybe in past tense, a lot besides Taekwondo. I have my values, which I believe is my person as well. But Taekwondo is my life, and it's what I want. It's what I think about, and it's what I have been doing. It's what I do, and it's what I want to do. So how can it not be who I am? So having this injury was, as you can imagine, very difficult and destructive for me. So but I was already before that, like, on a little bit on the fence whether I should continue or not, because the transition in going from junior to senior is very difficult.
It's a big step
And
for many people. Yeah.
yeah, definitely. And I wanted to become world champion so badly, and I hadn't achieved that yet, And I felt like my junior years was the chance for me to win the world championships, because senior is the Formula One. It's so difficult. How would I possibly win the world championships? I know I wanted to, and it's what I wanted to work towards, and I would plan for it, but there is no guarantees. So already before the Achilles injury, I was like a little bit on the fence, because it's the top.
There is no guarantee.
Yeah, there is no guarantee, which I have also come to find out and also come to enjoy. But so yeah, the injury just was very difficult for me.
Was there a moment you really considered just quitting completely?
I think this is a difficult question, because Taekwondo is my life. So I felt if I end Taekwondo, it's like kind of the end of life. So I feel like I would consider it, but then I would get upset about having such a big identity coupled towards Taekwondo. So now I don't consider it, not out of fear anymore, but out of enjoyment. I think this is a big shift. But it would only be rarely like, should I quit completely? It would just be like this, should I? It was only in a short period, but it was because it was in that difficult transitioning period that I think I was thinking about it.
Yeah.
Because I was like, okay, if I cannot, it's like, if you cannot fulfill a dream, how can you sort of allow to yourself to dream it? But then again, I was like, okay, I'm gonna work for it. So this is how I can allow myself to continue. And so I just hustled, even when I thought, should I or should I not? So I would be able to contemplate it only in this specific period.
Yeah.
But I would be able to contemplate. But if I were at training, I had a goal, and if I'm there, I'm present. I'm not just there half. That's waste of my time. I'm not going to waste my time. I'm not going to waste your time. I'm not going to waste anyone's time like that. And I'm not going to waste the pursuit. So if I'm there, 100%. And then the outside of it, I could contemplate and think about things, right? But it doesn't, just because of you think of something doesn't mean that
it doesn't mean that it's true, or that that's necessarily what you actually want.
Yes, definitely. So this was, thank you. This is exactly my thought. Just because you think something doesn't mean it's true.
How did the rehab process work for you? How long did it take for you to get back competing? Because that's a very major injury, rupturing an Achilles tendon, especially if you want to get back into freestyle, and recognized as well, but especially if you want to do jumps and tricks.
Yes. They said it would take maybe a year. It took me a bit under half a year.
Wow.
Yeah, I was dedicated when I got injured, soon after, for me, luckily, or like there is a saying like something with like, okay, there is good things and bad things, sort of. So my karma was apparently really good, and COVID came as I got injured. And so that's where I decided, okay, so while the others don't train because they're in quarantine and they get demotivated, I'm there. While they're sleeping, I'm awake. While they're in quarantine, I can do my exercises. I will work. And work I did. And so my first competition after the injury was the online world competition. And there was like this world championships trial competition with Philippines, Korea, Taipei, Asia, you know. And I won that trial, which was the one before the official one. But this gave me, of course, a lot of confidence coming back from a major, major injury. And that helped me literally get back onto my feet.
That's funny. Pun intended. I'll take that. Wow. Yeah. What would you say to someone who is going through a major injury or a minor injury for that matter? Because all athletes do have it at some point in their careers. Or if they don't, then probably they just are super lucky or not training.
Yeah. It's not possible not to. If you're have not tried to become injured, I don't know how you can be on an elite level or at least train as insanely much. What to say to someone who is injured? I'm thinking what I would like to hear, but I think it's very much up to the one person. You have to decide what view you will have upon the injury. So how you view the injury is pretty determined, for my case at least, how it will turn out. So if you feel sorry for yourself and if you make excuses, then that's it maybe for you. For me, I can sit and cry, and then I can say, okay, but I will allow this for however minutes, and then I will go to work. And then when I'm working. And then afterwards I can cry, you know? So it's like you have to suck it up. That's it. I'm not gonna be here and try and stroke your hairs, because that's not how it works. So it's how you view it. When I got re-injured, not with the Achilles, but soon after, I tore the MPFL
ligament.
Yes, in the knee. So not like the big ACL or meniscus, but you know, it's in the knee. Knee is difficult. I cried about it, and then I said, I literally filled myself for myself and said, it's because I can do it. It happened because I can get back. It happened again because I'm capable. It happened because I tried it before, so now I know how to get back. But even if it's the first injury, you can tell yourself, instead of saying excuses, you can say, not because why is it bad, you can try and flip it and say, I can do it because I'm an athlete. I can do it because I'm dedicated. I can do it because I know already how to work hard. Athletes are athletes, right? And to athletes, there are certain values. So just because you're not just really, because to be injured is truly for an athlete, it's the worst.
It's the worst.
Yeah,
it sucks.
It is. Definitely. But being injured, then it doesn't take away the values you have. And the values you have created for yourself, you can apply them to this. And that's what I did with my knee. For my Achilles, it was this creation of, while they sleep, I will work.
So, wow. It sounds that often the answer, at least for you, is always more work. Back to work.
Yeah, definitely. There is also a lot of thinking. For instance, winning world championships. should I quit? This was another point in time. So the quitting where I had like this bad kind of period or a difficult period was in around 2019. That's when I turned, I went from junior to senior. And then that was 2022, my very first world championships in the senior category. I won. Crazy.
Insane.
Yeah, and I considered. I said, okay, now Eva, you have to think, and you have to think wisely because you don't want to regret this decision. So I said, do I want to quit now? Because it could be smart. Because you want to end on top.
Hopefully, or most people want to, if they can.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I want to end up on top as well. I truly do, but it's not guaranteed. But there it would have been, which is like the nice thing, right? I would end on top. It's guaranteed.
And you've achieved already the highest you could achieve. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's where I went back to the thinking and not just back to work. And that's where I asked myself again, so who am I? And not as in I'm Taekwondo, because that was my answer the other times where it was like, okay, I'm Taekwondo, so back to work.
I see.
Here it was more of what's my values. It has, of course, it was before as well, but this was a little bit deeper. And I asked myself, so what would I like to do? First, what would I want? Then what is my values? And I also really wanted to see an athlete in the heart of the pursuit. So this is why I choose. Because also now with the Universiade, that was another bucket list. I could quit now.
You've done it all. You've done it all.
Be happy, But I want to continue. I want to be the athlete in the pursuit of something great. I think that's awesome, and I want to be an athlete who can try and show the way and show inspiration of the creation. And not only the created part, because the created part is the coolest. But then imagine that there is a process of making it and then it turning out to be the coolest thing. I think that would inspire me a lot. So that's what I chose.
Wow. But you absolutely made the conscious decision to take a break.
Definitely.
To now actually think.
I didn't take a break, no.
But not a break from training, of course.
Okay.
Let's be clear. But just a moment to pause and think, am I going in a direction I want in life? Because you were at the top. You had won it all multiple times now. Now, recently with the Universiades. And every wise person would say, it's smart to quit now.
Yeah, it would be. Honestly, it would be so smart to
quit. On paper.
Yeah, on paper it would be. Also because I'm afraid of but she's not that good anymore.
But you've proved them wrong many times already. Haven't you?
I believe so. Maybe. I hope so.
I mean, look at the statistics you have, so it doesn't matter what people say.
Yeah, but it's still... I don't think about it a lot. But then when you talk on a podcast and get to think about it, it's like, I'm afraid of, the thought of, but she's not, her level went down or whatever. But I think the cool thing is I'm still improving as far as I can see in both freestyle and Poomsae.
Well, that's a good sign.
So I don't know.
Let's be clear, for the record, I still want to see Eva competing. I want to see the next level Eva again. The 3 point something.
I'm working on it.
That's great
I'm
to
working
hear.
on it.
Okay. That's beautiful. And it's very inspiring to hear as well, because you've already achieved more than most people ever would or ever will. Let's be clear. Most people will never become a world champion or even compete at the Worlds. That's also already like a big achievement for very many people.
Yeah, it is. I'm not going to take that away from people.
Of course. But my point was that you've already achieved everything and still you want to keep improving and you still want to keep doing. Because it seems like you really just love the process of working and training, competing.
Yeah, yes, definitely. I do.
The good thing about our sport is we have many age categories, so you don't need to quit ever if you don't want to.
That is true. That is true. But still, I want to also be impressive as much as I can be.
Lovely. Let's talk a little bit more about your training and studies as well. But let's start with training. These days, from what I've understood, you train insane hours. How much do you train these days?
I wouldn't call it insane hours, like 3 to 6 hours a day, and then
Well, that's pretty insane to most people.
yeah. But then again, if I'm to compete against other, like the top, I'm like, I would want you to also put in the work like I do.
Of course.
So for me, it's not in, it's, I'm not going to take away from people that thinks it's a lot, of course. But for me, it's like this is what it takes. It's just like.
But that's why I'm also asking, because there might be many people watching or listening, for that matter, who are in the beginning of their career and they're training maybe a couple of times a week and thinking of, maybe I have the dream of one day I want to be able to compete at the World Championships, or I want to become world champion. I want to be like Eva. And then it's important to know also, like, what does it actually take? Because you started, of course, you didn't start with 3 to 6 hours every day, but these days that's what you're doing regularly. Isn't that right?
Yes.
What does your training consist of? Is it only Poomsae and freestyle training, or how do you split your training?
I have different kind of trainings. I have strength training, so with weights and at the gym. And I have like stability/injury preventing training, which is lower intensity, but it's slower motions, but it's very good for my strength around my hips and my legs. Yeah, generally, just because there are in Taekwondo, you have to kick a lot and kick high, so you have to be strong around the hip area, because or else you can get injury. And then there is Poomsae and freestyle, and these are the things I train. And I went stamina also, but stamina is not a training for itself. It's just like as you train, incorporated. Oftentimes, the stamina is by the end of the training.
Okay, so it's not usually separate sessions to do, like running or anything like that.
I did have, but I don't do it. So where I went to the stadium and then did stamina training.
Okay.
But now it's enough to just do it in the end of in the end of the last Poomsae training, or in the end of the last freestyle training.
Okay. Is the stamina training, is that in general for just physical preparedness, or is that specific for freestyle conditioning or Poomsae conditioning, or just general?
Well, both, I think. So there's like the general, you would call it is, so the general would be the running part. The
low intensity.
No, not the
stuff.
low intensity. Oh, yeah. Or like the HIIT, high
intensity.
Interval
training. Okay.
Yes, that is like the general one. And then there is for freestyle, it's like this is the last of the full rounds, with all the jumps and stuff. And then sprinting in like a specific pattern back and forth. And then after that, you might do one sparring sequence or one turning kick, because then you're exhausted. Then you
really try to like get yourself totally gassed out, and after that be able to do the spinning kicks or the Choreography part or something.
For instance, that's something I have 2 trainers, so this is something that Jacob does with me. And then in Poomsae, we have different programs as well. So there is, for instance, also, it is kind of this HIIT, high intensity interval training. where it's instead of the running, it's doing Poomsae and then no break. So you do full Poomsae or like high intensity Poomsae
Yeah.
for X amount of time, and then you have a break, and then
So you keep doing like Poomsae, Poomsae, Poomsae after each other, and then you have a
yeah,
break, or do you do like
yeah.
one Poomsae or a couple?
No, then it's like sequences repeatedly
Okay.
without break.
Without break.
Then it's up to the student as well as how much work you put into the training. But for me, like, you hustle. So you don't just like stand and breathe. So this you can also kind of use as the
So that's the
stamina.
conditioning part as well. Okay.
Yeah.
But that's not your regular Poomsae training.
No,
technical
the
training.
regular Poomsae training can be many. There are so many different things you can do
Of
in
course.
Poomsae training. It's not just going the same rounds and rounds and rounds. So this is one of the programs out of
Many of them. Yeah, of course.
Out of something I don't have count on.
I see. But in general, you have the Poomsae training, you have the freestyle training,
Yes.
and then you have the conditioning, which is the strength training and the stability work. And then you have, as part of the other trainings, you might have at the end then the conditioning or the stamina stuff. Okay.
Yes.
What does your freestyle training look like? And how often do you train freestyle in a week?
It's different from time to time. So the thing is that the jumping part is very demanding.
Of course.
So the jumping part is twice a week, so I can let my body rest. And then there is the freestyle part that varies according to the year and the time period, whether to make an air freestyle or whatever.
Yeah.
So, to make the music is, of course, it's not training. But if you ask me how much time I spend on it, it's like, okay, maybe I don't have count on
hundreds of hours.
I don't want to have count on it. Same thing with the choreography making. Now, these days, I've had Songyoung before, and then I have had Regimen also. Before that, I did my own choreography. So it varies how much time I have to spend on making. But then, of course, there is also time training the choreography.
Yeah.
And this varies as well, but that could be like twice a week as well.
Okay, so actually training just the choreography without necessarily the tricks.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yes.
Okay. About making your own freestyle, you've made a dozen, I guess, over and through your career.
Some.
Yeah. What do you like the most about making a choreography?
When it's done.
I can relate.
Yeah, right?
It's a headache, and especially finding the right music. That's maybe the biggest part. Once you have the music set, it's
it's
easy.
definitely easier. Yeah, definitely.
Recently, you've been having also people help you with the choreography.
Yeah.
How much of that is like a collaboration of how much do you make the choreography, or do you get a sample of this is version 1 and then you start changing it?
With these others, it's mainly so Songyoung put it in a very beautiful way, I think. He said that so he can make the pieces and he can make the picture sort of, but the athlete then performs it, becomes the art, So it's not just, so it is like the collaboration of the skills of just both making and doing, which I think was a very beautiful way to put it. So it's kind of this collaboration.
And it's a different skill to be able to be good at choreography, making a choreography and actually performing it. It's a different art as well, and it's surprisingly difficult.
Yeah, it's very much, I think also it's something that people take for granted. Definitely. The performing of the choreographies and how they look as well. Because I also have some quick elements in my choreographies, or there might be some movement that are Taekwondo, but they're made creatively still.
Mm-hmm.
And this is actually more difficult than doing 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5,
Yeah.
Whereas it's not as much appreciated necessarily to do something that's
Outside of the
creative and
box.
difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate if
Yeah.
people
and
try to innovate and it's not really appreciated. Or maybe not in the moment, maybe in retrospect, and it inspires other athletes. But maybe in the competition, it's not always appreciated as much in the scoring necessarily.
Yeah, I think at least it's not necessarily helping developing this sport. And this makes sense, right? If it's very controversial, how can things grow? Yeah.
But at the same time, sometimes you need to push the boundary to be able to evolve.
Yeah, which I like.
Yeah.
You
and
know,
you've had some very innovative tricks as well incorporated in your freestyle, and also some, it's not dance, but it's like dance-esque. It's still Taekwondo. And that's I think a fine line, and that's a difficult line to thread as well. But how do you feel about it? How much do you want to keep it in some way, or like honoring the like history part of the Taekwondo techniques in your freestyle?
I believe what I do is Taekwondo. And because I am not a dancer, I cannot dance. People, I cannot dance. So what I do is Taekwondo. I've never done dancing. What I do is I practice the movements, and the movement is based off on Taekwondo.
Do you have any musical background besides freestyle?
Yes, I'm half deaf.
That's one way to put it.
Yeah. But I am literally half deaf. For those in the podcast who cannot see.
Has it been difficult for you in the beginning, especially, to do Poomsae with the music? Because that's for very many people in the beginning very difficult, and I relate as well. I'm no dancer either, and never were. I wish to be. I would love to be. But
Me too.
I'm not there yet. But how did you overcome that, if that was difficult in the beginning, to do Poomsae with the music?
It was difficult to do Poomsae with the music because I only have 1 year. I'm born without an ear. So it's the same answer as always. Like, you have to practice it. Even when I train with some of the choreographers, like the way I count is different. I cannot really do the 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. I get a little bit confused. And so I'm like more like tan 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 like this. So where is the tan and the
the feeling of the impacts? I see.
Then there are some sounds that I cannot hear, but then it's like I just have to get the drills in more times and then that's my solution. If I don't have the talent for it, then
you'll work for it.
Then I have to repeat it more, and so that's what I will do. It's very logical like that. So in that sense, I guess I'm also a logic person. If it makes sense, then this is the answer.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Talking about freestyle could be its totally own episodes or multiple episodes.
Definitely, that could be actually.
Easily. But let's move back to recognized Poomsae.
Mm-hmm.
There have been some or multiple changes over the years about how the competition format works. So back in the day, we had the Cutoff. So it's basically just scored by the points, and the best may win, or the best 8 go to the finals, and so on. But for quite some time now already, we have the battle system of 1 against 1. Which one of those two have you preferred?
There are like also 2 different battle systems.
That's also true. Let's get to that.
Yeah, sure.
In a second.
Then
First, Cutoff versus battling.
Yeah, I prefer the battle.
Okay.
Because it's easier to distinguish who is win, and I think it's easier not to be as biased. I think it's easier for the judges not to just be biased based on the country, because there is not a 20-person long list with
it's super difficult to
Europe
judge such a
and America and then Asia to compete, like, you know. So I think then it's easier to actually, even regardless of what is written on the back, you can see and compare one or the other.
True. So it's maybe
So in that
more
way, it could be
straightforward
more
that the
fair.
best. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So I think in that way it could be more fair. And then there is, of course, the difficulty of how are people seated.
That's of
But
course.
that's another question.
Of
Yeah.
course. Yeah. But it's totally true. Judging in itself is super difficult, like in our sport, because there is a little bit of the subjective element as well, of course. Just like,
Yeah.
do you prefer someone's style or way of generating power or the looks of someone? So there is, of course, that element as well. But being able to put in the perfect order 20 people of a list and remembering was number 3 and number 17, how well
Yeah.
did they relate to each other? Probably number 1 and maybe number 2, 3, 4 will be like in the top 5. But like the order necessarily from such a big list can be difficult to get right. And that's just impossible for anybody, because judges aren't computers, and even computers probably couldn't tell which is the right way. So in that way, I totally agree that the battle system, once the seeding would be hopefully as rightful as it can be, then the best of the two usually always does go forward.
Yeah.
Okay, battle systems. There have been different battle systems. Which one do you prefer more? Back in the day, we had the version of one person does one Poomsae, goes back off the court, the other person does the first Poomsae, so it's like 1-on-1. And now, these days, we have the battling at the same time, side by side.
Yeah.
Do you prefer one or the other?
So, as an audience, I would prefer the side by side.
At the same time,
yeah. And then as an athlete, I prefer the 1-by-1. So one goes in and then goes out, and then the other in and out. And I prefer, as an audience, the side by side more, because it's more exciting and it goes faster, and you can kind of compare a little bit while the athletes go at the same time. But then as an athlete, I like the fact that you can be more perfectionistic about your craft.
Yeah.
Because in the side by side, it's okay, what can the judges see quickly, right?
True.
But in the 1-by-1, it's what do the judges notice? You know, it's not
it's
just
even
what
more,
they
yeah,
see.
because
It's
they're only looking at one person at a time.
Yeah.
True.
Yes. So this is my answer.
Okay. Do you enjoy the battling system in general more than the cutoff system? Like as an athlete, not necessarily in like, is it more righteous or wrong, or do the best persons win? But like as an athlete, when you compete, which one do you prefer?
I prefer the battle system because I do more rounds.
More Poomsae. That's a good answer. Okay. There's also the innovation of now that the Poomsaes used to be always drawn way before the competition starts, but now they're shown on the screens right before you get on the mat. Has that changed your preparation in any way?
Yes, it has. So I do visualization as well. And when it was prepared one day prior to the day you were to compete, or in the evening before, then I would visualize the specific routes. Now it's more difficult because it's all of them you can get to do. So the fact that I do the visualization is still the same, but it's more difficult in the sense of I don't know what round is when, or what rounds to prioritize when visualizing.
So it makes the visualization a lot more difficult beforehand. Yeah.
Yes, it does. Training wise, also there are differences because you have to be prepared to what any Poomsae is chosen, and then you can go. So, and this you didn't have to take into account before.
That's true. Yeah.
So in the trainings, it's also different because then there is this element that is new, and then you put that new element into the trainings. But we have, of course, so we're prepared.
Mm-hmm.
And then at competition-wise, you practice, it's a little bit more surface. You have to go through them all, but
Mhm.
and it has to be detailed. But because you don't know it, you can not go necessarily as much into those details because it's not
True.
like, okay, so we're going to focus on this Poomsae, so this, and this, and this is important. I
Yeah.
do have my document with 30 pages or 50, I believe. Maybe it's more now. Yeah, I don't know, 50 pages, 75 of my corrections. Whereas then I could just memorize the pages that I would have to remember for maybe 6 Poomsaes throughout the competition. Or
Yeah.
sometimes the draw on Poomsae would be the same, you know?
True. Yeah.
But now I have to remember all of the pages. And then when you have to go, it has to be in an instant. It's these 20.
Yeah. Mentally, it's very different, or feels very different to compete like that.
Yes.
And I
Yes.
mean, at the same time, back in the day, in theory, if you see like the first 3 rounds, there are no sidekicks, you might as well just not warm up your sidekicks yet.
Yeah. Yeah,
Like, that could be a thing because you're like, I
Because
want
you're
to peak in the
smart.
finals. Yeah.
Yeah.
But now you need to be prepared for everything. Which
Yes.
at the same time, I do find that interesting as
It
like,
is interesting, especially
psychological-
as an audience.
Yeah, that as well. Because that's actually a good way to move forward because people might have favorite Poomsae and unfavorite Poomsae
Yeah.
related to the draws. So now,
Yeah.
I mean, it's funny sometimes even how much people are like, oh no, I got this Poomsae X. Let's say it's Kumgang.
Yeah.
Oh no, I got Kumgang. And it's like, surprise, surprise, you have 8 Poomsae in your
Yeah,
category.
yeah.
Like, it might
Sure.
happen.
Yeah.
So, do you have a favorite Poomsae?
Yeah, my favorite Poomsaes are Pyongon, Kumgang, and Jite.
Okay. Do you have an unfavorite Poomsae or the least favorite Poomsae?
No.
That's a great mentality. That's what I like to say as well. I have only
Fact.
favorite Poomsae.
Yeah,
They're all good.
fact.
If you had to choose between freestyle or recognized, now, you only had to choose and do one, which one would it be?
No, I don't have to choose, so I'm not going to.
Okay.
But
if you had to, gun to the head,
Yeah,
if you had to.
I've been asked this question many times, and my answer is the same.
Okay.
I'm stubborn like that, which is why I can't continue. So
That's a beautiful answer. That's a great answer. Why not?
I don't have to choose. I'm not going to. I choose both. And that's the choice, And then when I choose something different, so be it. Then I choose something different, but it's not now at least. So
that's the choice from now. Exactly.
Yeah.
You are an athlete, basically full-time, but you're also full-time a student. What do you study?
I study pharmacy.
Which year are you now in university?
I'm done with my bachelor's, so now I'm in my first year of master's. I'm done with my master's in 1.5 years.
Why did you get into pharmacy?
Pharmacist, it's actually funny because it's also oftentimes family related. So my dad is a pharmacist. So I think it is a great field. So it's also why it's so family related because many people don't actually know about
it's not
pharmacy.
Exactly.
Yeah,
it's not something
it's
you
like,
hear about.
No, actually. And so people just think it's this, oh, okay, so you are at a pharmacy because you're a pharmacist, but like there are so many more things to it, right? And I think it's why it's oftentimes related to, or it's oftentimes family that gets you into it because you get to find out, okay, there's more things into it. And there's everything in science. There is the chemistry, there is a lot of biology as well, there is physics. And there is the math, of course, that you have to apply to the different sciences. So this is why I chose pharmacy because I like science. In high school, I was good in all the subjects, not necessarily. I mean, did I have talent for it? I don't know. You do your homework, you want to have good grades, and then, so I could choose pretty freely if I wanted to do something creative, something science, something literature based or language based, But I like science, but I don't know. I like also everything, maybe.
Many things. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that was why it was very hard for me to choose what education I wanted to do. But then I knew that pharmacy was so broad and I like science equally. Or not equally, but I also find science cool and I kind of had talent for it. So that's how I got into it. And then also pharmacy, unlike what people think, there are lots of things to choose from. You don't have to work at a pharmacy. Yeah.
True. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of research stuff and all kinds of occupations I don't even know about.
Yeah, well, me too. I'm gonna find out.
Exactly. Do you see similarities between mastering science or mastering Poomsae?
I mean, success is the same in all aspects, right? It's setting goals, it's knowing how to work for them and planning for how to work them out. It's also, maybe not being good at something and then becoming good at something and getting over the embarrassment of failing and then have to redo whatever it is that you feel you didn't do well enough. So yeah, of course there are similarities. And so I think with Taekwondo, I can see in everything. So yeah, definitely. And it's also on a personal level, so who do you aspire to be? Who is like that? Look at them. What about them do you like? So all listen and learn, but also look and learn. So in school, it's, for instance, listen and learn. And then at a personal level, it's look and learn. And in Taekwondo, it's both listen and look and learn.
That's a good way of putting it. Do you feel like Taekwondo and competing in Taekwondo and Poomsae taught you many of the skills of goal setting and you applied that to your studies? Or does it go both ways? Or is that separate of which craft you're doing?
For me, Taekwondo influenced a lot because I was shy, I was insecure, I was introverted. And then I found out that there was something I was all right at. So I didn't have to feel stupid. In school, I felt stupid even though I wasn't. I think it was also because I felt there was pressure for me to be good.
What do you mean by having pressure to be good? Where from?
I think I put onto myself, but also I think a little bit like Asian stereotypes as well. You have to be smart, but maybe it was just in my own head. But anyhow, because I felt that sort of pressure, I was like, oh, if I don't try, I cannot fail. And so with Taekwondo, I then found out that if you try, you can succeed. And that I put on to my studies as well. And now I'm a pharmacy student, and I think it's really cool to be able to study such a good education.
That's cool. That's really cool. Being full-time athlete or being full-time student both take a lot of time and effort and energy. But do you feel like it more gives you energy that you have two different aspects? And does it give balance to life, or does it drain you sometimes that you have both?
If I could choose, I would just be a Taekwondo athlete. No. There you see.
Never mind.
Yeah. If I could choose, I think I would choose to become only Taekwondo athlete and Taekwondo trainer, maybe. But I'm not entirely sure because I really enjoy to be a student as well. I like to learn, whether it's Taekwondo or if it's science or anything else, actually. So it gives me energy to study and it gives me energy to practice Taekwondo. So both of them gives me energy.
Yeah.
What the difficult part is that one takes time for the other. But
time management.
Yeah. But the balance for me is, well, it's mainly Taekwondo taking up my time. Yeah.
And then if you have free time, it's studying.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or exams, definitely. Then I study a lot because you have to be smart to be a pharmacist or to be a student, to study master's degrees, whatever it is,
It does take a lot of effort. It's not simple or easy.
Yes, definitely not.
Do your classmates at uni see you more as Eva the student or Eva the world champion and Taekwondo athlete?
Simple answer to this one for once. They see me as Eva the person.
That's beautiful. And that's probably also very refreshing sometimes that you're not also like stuck only in the Taekwondo bubble, that you have different things outside of it as well. Or I'd imagine.
Definitely.
I'd imagine at least. Yeah.
Yeah, I have some. It's not like I need so much beside, because I think when you're very ambitious, you're very efficient as well. So it's not like you pick out a big group that you have to hang out with always. My people are close.
Yeah.
Okay, so the ones I'm close with, I have a deep connection with, I feel. And because of that, I don't need to have this many superficial small things besides Taekwondo. My trainers is amazing people. With them, it's amazing. I have my family. That is my everything.
Wow. You said that, or you thought for a moment that if you had the chance to be a full-time Taekwondo athlete, you maybe would, but you're not completely sure. Have you?
I think I would.
Okay, you probably would.
I probably would.
What is the main reason that you are not able to be a full-time athlete?
It's the culture. It's it's not an excuse if it's a fact. So in Denmark, athletes don't get support like that. It's not like we get scholarships and then get scouted. It goes to the clubs, because the culture in Denmark is we support the broadness,
like
and
the general
not,
population. And,
and not the top, even though the top is like the ones that inspire
everybody. Yeah.
But this is just not what you do in Denmark. And then as for marketing myself, then there is another cultural thing with
like
it's
personal branding, you mean?
Yeah. And so in Denmark we have something special called the law of Jente, which is not an actual law, but it's called in this culture, underneath the surface, which is you shouldn't think highly of yourself, no matter who you are. So it also, for me, becomes difficult to promote me as, the best. Like even here, you can hear my hesitation in my voice to how to put things.
I see, yeah.
Because I also aspire to be a humble person. It's one of my main core values. That I want to also be like and approachable and these things and humble.
Yeah.
But so this also makes it difficult to necessarily put yourself out there and say like, okay, so I need this money, give me this and that, I have achieved this and that. This is my, it becomes difficult. And then this is the second aspect. So there is the
just the financial system.
In the financial system. Then there is the cultural, as in the
don't put yourself out there.
Yeah. And
that's a very Scandinavian thing, I feel like.
Yes.
It's the same in Finland. Yes. You should not be like banging on your chest of look at me, how good I am.
Exactly.
Even if you are the best, and you might still be very humble. I think that's also a very funny aspect about that thing, because you can still be the most humble person but also proud about and know like how good you are and present yourself confident and know your worth, even though you're not like arrogant in any ways.
Yeah, definitely.
But that's a very difficult line to thread sometimes.
Yeah, it is.
Of course.
So I also try to go a little, I take my time when answering sometimes because of this exact thing. I think in Sweden they also call it jentelån, jente.
It sounds familiar. I don't know how to put it into words, but it's very common in Finland as well.
Yeah. So I think it's a Scandinavian thing, yeah.
And in general, it's humbleness is a very, very beautiful trait, and it's something everybody should aspire to. But at the same time, it's not necessarily the same thing, what we're talking about here.
Because you can overdo it because there is being humble, and then there is also stepping on yourself, you know? So there is the line of being proud and being arrogant, and then there is a line of being humble and stepping over what you have actually achieved. And it's very easy to also, just because you want to be humble, you just sort of you just sort of stumble upon it and like just go over it. I'm the world champion, you know? Instead,
by the way.
Yeah, you know?
Yeah. If it comes up, you're like, yeah, sure. Let's talk about something else.
So that's when it's really nice that someone else can present it, like we also did today. Like, so you present because of Well, so in terms of financially and why I cannot be or I am not yet a professional athlete, is the third one is time. So
of course.
I use my time on becoming better. And I value becoming better higher than promoting myself.
I see.
Basically.
I mean, and it's a difficult thing to start building a personal brand or going after sponsorships or collaborations. I mean, that's a full-time job for many people, and that's actually an occupation for many people. They do that for a living.
Yeah, for a living.
Managers.
Yes.
So doing that besides everything is, you need to choose what you want to put your effort in. So,
but I'm working on it. I have my brand, you know. I have my Eva Sandersen t-shirts, and I'm building up a website with people that I know, or actually just one person working on it. So he's awesome. Thank you to Yoon. He's doing the work with the website.
Shout out.
Yeah. And then my dad is also like pulling the threads for the sponsors or the marketing of different things. Yeah. So that's also how I try and manage it. So I have a manager and I have a manager and I am getting up a website that people can subscribe to. And I have my social medias like Instagram and Facebook.
Yeah.
And then I might try to get onto TikTok and
other platforms as well. Okay. I see. But it's, at the same time, it's a little bit sad to hear that you're the best of the best in our sport, and still you're not able to financially just get by doing your sport. And
I mean, I'm an instructor as well.
Yeah, but you're working. You're working.
True.
That's a different. That's not you being an athlete. That's a separate thing.
I agree, definitely.
So it's something that is very common in most countries in Europe. Like also in most sports. It's not just in our sport, but it seems like, especially in our sport, there isn't really much financial support, or there isn't a system for that. At least not yet. Hopefully that
Denmark,
can change in the future. Yeah.
Yeah.
In Finland, the same.
In Finland, the same.
It's only a couple of sports where you can actually be like professional in the sense of you get paid for doing just your sport and training and recovery. Yeah. Okay. Let's talk about your future. What are your goals?
My goals, I was just asked this question, and my answer to it, put simply, is my goal is to create. So my goal is to create whatever I set my mind to, it will grow beautifully. So if it's if I want to create an athlete as myself, that's what I want to create. So I want to become a world champion. I want to create the world champion Eva Sandersen. In terms of the instructor, I want to create great athletes, great people. In my personal life, I want to create strong bonds, strong relationships, a strong family, and strong foundations. And the people I work with, I continue to work with. And I think this says a lot about the bonds I create. Like my trainer that I still have, Bodo, he was there at my first graduation and when I was 8 or 9. Jacob, I have trained with for 8 years. That's a very long time. So these are our strong bonds. And as well in my friend groups, I have maybe fewer, but they last. And this is more important for me. And then for my future, I wish to inspire. And I wish to inspire by the truth. And I think this is one of my strengths, as well as Natalie and as a person. And I think it has also inspired others because I see in Instagram how people put out their stories out there and stuff. And I believe in making an influence by telling the truth. I think the deepest answer you get through this. And this is why I want to inspire. And this is also a part of why I wish to win and to be the best. It's because I want to share as well.
Wow. Eva, you're already inspiring much more people than you probably know or even think.
I don't know.
You
Probably.
are. I know. You are.
Because I'm like, maybe I try, but you never know.
And it
Maybe
sounds
I
very
just say a
admirable
lot of
as well.
stuff, like
You're not just talking. You're actually putting the results out, and you're a great example for younger athletes, but also for older athletes and experienced athletes.
Thank you.
And you're still humble after all these years and after winning basically everything you ever could.
I try
and
to.
I respect that a lot, and that says a lot
Thank
about you
you.
as a person, and that's more important than just about what it says about you as an athlete. People can be great athletes, but if they're assholes, nobody remembers them as athletes.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
Or at least not in a good way.
Both is important.
Okay, you've won the European Championships, you've won the World Championships and the Universiades.
Yes.
What about Olympics?
Olympics. If it comes. Yeah. I want to, but it's not up to me.
Is that also one reason to keep going? That there is, in theory, the chance that it might come up?
Yes and no. It's a reason.
A reason, of course, yeah.
And if it comes, I would like to go. If it comes, I'm going. But it's also, there are many things you can't control, and then there are many things you cannot control. And for the things that are not put into my hands, I'm not gonna depend on them like that.
That's very stoic. I can respect that. Focus only on the things you can control. That's lovely. Next year we have the World Championships, probably in Korea. But after that we have the European Championships in 2027.
Yeah.
Where would you hope that the European Championships will be held, and why is that Finland?
It's Finland because I know a good guy, Christian.
Hey!
And I think we should honor him and do it in Finland.
Just for the record,
did it?
I did not pay her anything to say that, by the way. She's here by her free will.
I am. I don't know where it should be. I don't really. I think.
Would it be lovely if it would be in Denmark? Would you like that?
I would like it to be wherever there are good organizers. In Denmark, for the Worlds, it seemed at least like there was good planning. So based on that, good organizers. But where it is, I don't care. I just want it to be driven by passionate people or people who knows what they're doing and who are interested in doing the best work for the athletes. So not putting the athletes into dangerous situations and prioritizing that there is nice warming up areas, that the floor is not the floor underneath the mats are not concrete, because that's very hard on the knees and the ankles. Yeah, it just so you can really just prevent this by, at the Universiades, they, for instance, had like a little bit of foam underneath the mats, like that were designed by some engineers, builders, so there are definitely solutions.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be, but we just have concrete halls, okay, but you can do stuff about this.
You can build stuff.
Think about things, and if you want the best things for the athletes.
And also for the sport, like if you think about freestyle, like if the mats are good and it's not just on concrete and they give a little bit of bounce, it's going to be even more spectacular when people get a couple of centimeters more air time. So just also for the sport.
Make the podiums. Yeah, like make the podiums for the freestyle and make the floors so it's not concrete and injury
risky,
or like injury risking. Thank you, for the athletes, and make the timetables well, and make the electronics work, and make sure the mats are not slippery like at the university, so everybody falls in the like people that listens to the athlete and who wants the athletes to perform well, because after all, it should be in everyone's interest.
Absolutely.
We work as hard as we can, and some of us spend our whole life doing just this. And then please put this work that people live for, honor it, and put it into justice. That's it.
Well said.
So this country, these organizers, wherever.
Let's make it a good competition. But first, World Championships next year.
Yes.
And many comps before that.
Yes.
Wow. What would you tell your younger self, Eva, 10 years old?
This is so cute, because I remember exactly Steven asking me this in another interview. Yeah, so Steven asked me this question.
This might be Steven's question. Maybe not.
Yeah. Well, but I remember exactly what I answered. I said nothing. I said I would want her to find things out on her own. And in some way, so things are, and again, it's this kind of stoic view of it, that what are put into your hands, you think about and you use, and what is not put into your hands is simply not for you. And so I cannot go back to my younger self and tell her what to do and what not to do. So I wouldn't, but there is one thing I think, like it's not, I don't think I would do anything differently, because so this is my answer.
Mm-hmm.
But there was this one girl, my best friend. I would wish there was something I could have done for her, and this is not something you can tell to your younger self, but I think it's really great in the sense of I always made sure to tell her that I appreciate her and I love her, and give each other advice and share life. So I don't have any regrets in that, because she could feel my sincerity. But if there was anything I could change, it would be not losing her. But I'm really happy, because I'm grateful that she was the person she was, and I was the person I was with her. So it's how you put things. And I think that's cool, getting to know people that you can have so dear and that you can express something so deeply to, and that you also can express something so loving to others just by having such sincerity. So the beautiful thing is my answer is the same, that I would not tell my younger self anything, because I would want myself to find out things for myself. Maybe because it's the only thing I can do anyways. But I don't have many regrets. I don't have any regrets, because things I do fully. I do with all of my heart, whether it be relationships or training or anything else. So I think this is how I can come to the conclusion of saying, if I could give advice to my younger self, it would be nothing.
Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, Eva Sandersen. Thank you so much, Eva. That was beautiful.
Thank you.
You're a huge inspiration to me and to many other people, more people than you know. And thank you so much for your time. And thank you for this interview.
Thank you. And thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. And
it's an honor.
The honor is mine. I enjoy to, as I said, to share and to create and to tell the truth. I'm trying to be truthful and having the values that you have, sharing the values that you have, being able to inspire to create and be humble and hardworking. Yeah.
You're a beautiful role model in that. Thank you for that.
Thank you.